Haggis is actually a breakoff in Park City back in the 70s, 72, and started a Salt Lake team. So all the guys kind of went down there and started, but kept this original team in Park City. Over the years, Park City kind of dwindled in numbers. In the 90s and late 2000s, we started coming up to actually play up here, and we always did on the 4th. It was a big grudge match, but Jack Walzer and myself, after in 2005, we took the national championship. Jack Walzer and myself thought, since they didn't have the numbers up here, that we'd fill in for Park City, because there's such a great tradition up here in Park City. It's just been a great rugby town, and it is actually a ski town, so that makes it even more popular. So we've kind of converted that into a plethora of players from Salt Lake and Park City that we've been, obviously Utah's just got a homegrown area for just great athletes in rugby.
Well, I've been a Park City High School graduate. I was class of '93, and right after I graduated high school, I went away to college, came back on my summers and played with the Muckers, and that in college was my first exposure to the game. I came back to Utah for law school after leaving for a while, and I wanted to get back into the game, and they were still here, so that was good to see. And now that I'm a little bit older, I've been taking on sort of more of a management role, trying to increase the opportunity for our players to play top quality rugby, and also to bring better rugby to the city, to Park City.
Rugby is probably the sport with the greatest camaraderie that I could imagine. You dig so deep on the field. You've got to be there, and you've got to hurt for your teammates, and you're all gutting it out and giving it your all to come out on top of matches. And one of our good mates, Alan Short, this year, he unfortunately passed away in a car accident. And so this year, more than any other year probably, I've seen the ties and the bonds of camaraderie on the rugby field, because you just dig so deep for your teammates on the field. Really come out, not only on the field but off of the field. We're all banding together to support his wife and kids that he left behind, and the friendships that we have off the field are just so deeply rooted because we all dig so deep for each other. I think that's what rugby means most to me.
When I was younger, I think I started playing because I wanted an outlet. I played football at Park City. I went to a small liberal arts college that didn't have football, and I was recruited to play rugby. So I've gotten older. That's changed. First, it became a way for me to stay in shape. Then I sort of found that I couldn't leave it. I needed the friendships. I needed those bonds. And ultimately, now that I'm married and I have a life and I have a career, it's that little thing that you have to have in your life that's important. That doesn't matter to anybody else. And I feel like that's an important part of my life, that when we come out here and I play with these younger guys and we win, it makes me feel like all that stuff that I've done that people didn't understand, going to the gym all those hours and putting all this money into it, that it really was worth it. And and it's still here. I mean, it was here when I was in high school. It's still here, and it's also the memory and in respect and out of all the work and the dedication that all those people put in before me.
I've played since I was 14, 15 years old at Highland, and I'll tell you, it's the boys, it's the camaraderie. I've beat myself to hell and everything, but it's just a camaraderie. It's like a family, and I would say that even nationally and internationally, you have a sphere of guys that are as crazy as you are that want to hang out, have a Coke or have a beer, it doesn't matter. It's all walks of life, and it's just that passion for the game.
Well, I think the game's changed between the early '90s and now, in that it used to be primarily a social endeavor, which is great, and that still is an aspect of the game. But I think as rugby, the profile of rugby has increased, and more people have played rugby in Utah. It's combined sort of, I think, a higher level of competition with that. I mean, now there's very good teams for us to play in Denver and on the Pacific Coast, and teams generally have the resources to play a schedule that includes those matches. So, I would say that the camaraderie that existed in the early '90s is still here, but now we probably have a little bit higher demands in terms of the athleticism and the fitness and the skill required.
we're actually teaching our kids how to play. The younger generation starting to learn how to play. All of a sudden there's a big influence that, man, we need a team, and there are more teams. And now in Utah, I think there's probably at least 25 to 30 teams of kids that are playing.
Well, my dad played for the Park City Muckers up in Park City, and he was the guy that got him to join down with Haggis down in Salt Lake, and now the team's doing a lot better, and we're competing in higher leagues and playing well. I find pictures of myself and my brother just playing with the rugby ball, and it's kind of like a whole brotherhood thing. Like when you play rugby with these guys, they're brothers. Just everyone helps each other out. Everyone has a good time when they're out on the field, and even after, like just right now, we're just barbecuing, having a good time. It's a good way to get get the anger out a little bit, but at the same time, you're out here with some guys that like to have a good time, and it's always fun.
In terms of the stigma that rugby has as far as being a very violent, vicious sport, I don't buy that a whole lot. You know, some of the best rugby players are wrestlers because they know how to give contact and take contact and wrestle and things like that. And because we don't wear pads, you're not prone to run into a guy with a helmet, chop his knees out, you know, and blow out his knee with no repercussions. You know, some of the, you know, that aspect of not wearing pads, you've got to protect yourself as much as you have to, you know, tackle hard. So it becomes a different style of tackling. There's a different physicality to it. Yeah, it's a physical game. It's really hard. It's an endurance sport, yet you have all of the contact and the real kind of guttural, inner animal kind of stuff that you need to dig deep and get yourself up off the ground and sprint to the next play. But as far as the physical contact, I think it's so much more tempered because you can come off poorly in a tackle if you're the one tackling with bad form or you're sticking your head in the wrong place. So you're really cognizant of where your body position is.
The hitting's a lot safer than it's been in the last few years. It's the head to the side a little bit, not so much. Obviously my nose, you can see. It's changed and the game's evolved into a safer game, I would say.
On a personal level, it's just a passion for the game. When like you train off the field, you train on the field just to get better. You just have a passion for it, and I think for me, it just like goes through my blood because my dad's all into it. My brother plays too, and it's a good thing. A lot of these guys are the same way, so.